Welcome back to another episode of It's All Been Trucked Before, this time, The Way to Eden. You know, spoiler alert, the journey's not as bad as we thought it was. Speaking of journeys, speaking of maybe not quite Eden, but Squatch Smashers, one of our newest podcasts. We know that a lot of audio drama podcasts feature a monster hunter host, his vampire co-host, a stylish steampunk murder bot named Jenny, and Elvis as a necromancer. But Squatch Smashers comedy podcast likes to think that it stands out from the others, and that they also have an old guy in a wheelchair. Plus, free t-shirt for every 1 million listener. You might be that millionth listener. Go over, check out Squatch Smashers, part of the IABD Presents network, IABDpresents.com. Also, while we're pronouncing IABD, go to patreon.com/IABD and support us as we keep popping up all these new podcasts like the Squatch Smashers. It's a great way to support us. You get behind the scenes content, in front of the scenes content, and you can get great swag, t-shirt, and a pop socket. It's my favorite. I keep mentioning it. I can't stop talking about a pop socket. I don't have one. Pop socket sounds like something that could be discussed on Marianne's Macabre Review. They get it all. It's time to bring the spooky with a new season premiering in October. Marianne, and friends, and Marianne's Macabre Review. Macabre Media Review. It's all media. It could be internet. It's probably going to be a lot of movies, but TV, you name it. Books. I hope a pop socket comes out. Podcast released every other Tuesday on all things horror. Film, television, books, web series, and even board games. Marianne's Macabre Review, all part of the IABD Presents network. And now join us, if you will, on the way to Eden on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Again, your skeleton crew.
This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome. Even the promise of hippies did not draw them out.
What the
I thought Jess would be here for that.
We thought, but
maybe I forgot to remind her. So, my first impression is that you oversold how bad it was going to be.
I really, in my memory, I really did not like this episode. I did not hate it. I didn't love it. It's not going to challenge City on the Edge of Forever. It's my favorite.
Oh God, no!
But I did not hate it, and I think it's weird. I think the whole hippie aspect of it was more felt watching it in the 80s or the early 80s, late 70s than now. Now it just seems like, these are some weird people that are different. And I think that's a good thing. I think I wasn't as put off by those aspects. A couple of the music sequences aren't so great, but I didn't hate those as much as I did before.
I liked the music sequences.
And
those are kind of, I like musicals. I like them.
I didn't hate them as much as I did before. I actually enjoyed most of them. Well, maybe one of them was a little long, but so it's, I apologies to everyone. I hope you enjoyed this more than you enjoyed it, regardless of what my expectations were. Well, I came in with the lowest of expectations. So
I mean, maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, is you sold it as like it's really. Plus, a lot of people mention this as a sign that Star Trek jumped the shark. They pull out the hippies. Yeah. Personally, I found it quite enjoyable. Like I said, it's not gonna top the list for me. No. Not even of this season. No. But it's certainly in the upper half, I would say. It's good.
It doesn't have I don't think there's any of the high concept, really. There's a few concepts there of
they touch on a couple things.
Yeah, but
they touch on. They don't resolve.
Right, and I think part of I think I've talked before about when I was younger, it was like, no, these episodes have to be serious. I think we talked about Piece of the Action was one that I did not like as a kid. Now I'm like, nope, I get where this episode's going. And this one isn't necessarily a comedy by any means, but I think
it's lighter.
It is lighter, and it's got a certain the whole relationship between Spock and I keep calling them the hippies, but for lack of a better term, is also very interesting too. And I think it's they touch on it very early on. That he's used to not being different in his world. And that rang more true for me watching it this time as well. So, yeah.
I mean, where I think it was commentary, and they weren't quite sure how to make up their mind on how to deal with that Spock was totally like, yeah, those guys are cool, just as long as they don't do anything bad, which the leader was trying to do. Let them be. I dig their path. I'm glad they're doing it.
Right.
But when Kirk met him, he first immediately went to that typical military, stereotypical.
Yep.
I shouldn't say typical.
Right.
Stereotypical military looked down upon them of the 60s. But by the end of the episode, he kind of come around a bit.
He did, yeah.
Even though they endangered everybody and attacked
Stole
them.
the shuttlecraft.
It was very much a message of peace and tolerance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, for a bit, they kind of got cultish. More so than just plain hippies.
Yeah.
And that's disturbing. But at the end, they didn't end up trying to arrest them. They didn't try to... It's like, okay...
And I think it was
this one bad thing, but we're not going to condemn your whole group for it.
Right, and I think it was kind of a thing of, this guy, Dr. Severn, was crazy and bad news, but the rest of you believed in this thing that whether he was selling you a bill of goods. Yeah.
I mean, when they start talking about, we're trapped in machines and recycled air, you get it. You're like, I can see.
Well,
you need a little nature.
And something a couple of people touched on that weren't as far as they didn't necessarily love the episode either, but they were touched on the idea of, well, maybe, because as we watch, it's like, the Federation, we're peaceful, blah, 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 we're doing this, we're doing that. Mm-hmm. But that said, it makes sense that some people might be like, no, maybe the Federation isn't the coolest. They're obviously not perfect.
Well, I mean,
government.
Flint basically said the same thing last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they're not wrong. The Federation, the ship is wrestling with weapons. They do sometimes get forceful.
And, there's talking every episode or many episodes like, well, if you don't do this, the Federation's going to, and we've talked about the Federation, the Romulans and the Klingons being stand-ins for America and Russia and China or whatever and that kind of stuff. Cold War kind of stuff. But
the Romulans are kind of a false danger in this episode. They never showed up.
Yeah.
They never did.
Yeah.
It just had a little bit of something lurking.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they were like...
That's the closest thing I think this episode comes to for a major plot hole.
Yeah.
That's part of why I like it, too, is I like when there's no plot holes. I like when these things make the story make sense.
That's true.
Whether the story's good or not, it made sense.
I can't remember. Had they stolen the ship at the beginning? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, so that was just their ship that destroyed.
And one of them was like a powerful ambassador's son or whatever.
That's right, because
them off a little bit.
Kirk didn't threaten them with theft. He just said they were operating in a erratic manner. The diplomat's son, which I thought, again, was a good, here's why we have to put up with these guys.
Well, another reason why Spock might relate to him, being a diplomat's son.
Oh, that's true, too. It just keeps making me think of the Vampire Weekend song, Diplomat's Son.
Let's talk about the guest stars. Dr. Severn was played by Skip Homier,
who also played Melicon in Patterns of Force.
He looked familiar.
Yeah.
His big ears, they tried to hide him, but he was also famous from The Gunfighter, The Tall T, whatever that is.
Yeah, he was like a child actor like the 30s and 40s.
Age 14 was his first
film. 40s, I guess.
And he was in Broadway as well.
Yeah. Great voice.
Yeah.
I actually love his ears. They're not... I can't decide if they're ears or earrings.
I think they were fake ears.
Okay.
There were definitely some that were wearing decoration.
Right.
They reminded me a bit of like when you see like the African tribe or now just people.
That's what that's exactly that's what I kept thinking. It was like a gauge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those creeped me out a lot more as a kid with non-HD TV. They looked a lot grosser, but now with HD, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he died in 2017.
Yeah, he just passed.
His last credit was 1982.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't stay active.
Gotcha.
He, guest starred in like Fantasy Island, Barnaby Jones, The Incredible Hulk, that sort of thing.
While we're on great ears, real quick, Chekhov recognizes his old girlfriend's voice through the bridge, the intercom, through Kirk's communication.
Did we need to have that subplot?
No. And in DC Fontana's original script, which is part of the reason she took her name or put her male pseudonym.
Michael Richards?
Yes. The original script, that character was McCoy's daughter.
Oh.
And it got into a little bit of their relationship of she was kind of estranged from him.
I would like to have seen
and their marriage, which they kind of allude back to in 2009, or McCoy's marriage or whatever.
Yeah. They mentioned it in this series.
Yeah. And then she gets involved with Kirk. Now that, to me, I
don't want to see that.
That's not my alternate, but I would be...
No,
I would be interested.
I'm all for McCoy's daughter. Yeah. I'm not for her having a relationship. No. I'm glad they took that up.
I won't reject it out of hand, but I would be curious to see it. But yeah, I think being McCoy's daughter and their interaction would have been a lot more interesting.
Yes. And McCoy wasn't in this much.
Yeah, and in fact, This is the one episode of the original series Doohan did not like.
Really?
Yeah.
The only episode.
That's what
he's got so many to choose from.
I know.
And this is the one.
They're worse. And Koenig didn't like it, Walter Koenig, and it makes sense because, his whole thing is, when he came on, is Chekhov's supposed to be the younger, hipper, whatever, Starfleet officer.
Kind of
and this one, they're like, you're the straight arrow. And he was like, it was hard to play. It was weird.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't like. I agree with him.
See another set of Chekhov.
Yeah,
I was fine with that.
Yeah, I agree with him that it wasn't on brand, but it didn't bother me as much.
Well, I think
this time
I don't necessarily think it was off brand. I could totally see him dating a girl like that based on that.
Right.
But I also see maybe we don't see it as often, but he is dedicated to the job. He is dedicated to Starfleet.
Their little makeout scene I enjoyed more than many of the Kirk makeout scenes we've had recently, just because it did feel a little more real. I mean, obviously she was up to no good to an extent, but they had some old feelings.
Well, I don't think she was just playing him.
Right.
I think that was part of it. But,
right.
I mean, I think she was genuine when they had their goodbye at the end.
Right.
I loved when they were singing, when she was singing, and Chekhov was just staring at her.
Yeah.
You could see that he still had feelings for her, and I got that through this.
Yeah, I thought that relationship was okay. I would rather have McCoy, but
the only problem I had when he was like, "Hey, this is the auxiliary control room. What's that do? Oh, it controls the whole ship." That's probably a classified area that she would not be allowed in.
Well, and he knows she went to Starfleet, so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, either he should be telling her.
Well, okay, so she dropped out of the academy.
That's true.
And Constitution class starships are the newer graders. She may not have learned about the auxiliary control.
Well, to be fair, as you know, any guest on the Enterprise has full access to everything. To everything.
Yeah, they haven't learned.
They haven't locked that down yet, probably.
I loved seeing the auxiliary control room.
Yeah,
which is definitely like the battle bridge in Next Generation.
Right.
Because they've well established in the canon, even though it's never seen the original series, that original Enterprise could saucer separate.
Right.
The way Next Gen could.
Yeah.
So that would have been where they went to control the ship.
Yeah.
I had a little view screen, which we didn't get a good look at. I'm digging this. I forgot they showed this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was in there.
We also had another returning guest star, Ensign Mears. From Yeoman Mears from Galileo 7.
White Uhura. No.
Oh, she was also there. Lieutenant Palmer, right?
Yeah. Oh, Mears?
Yeah. She was one of the same actress, I should say, was one of the hippies. What is her name? Not Phyllis Douglas. Is it Phyllis Douglas?
There is Phyllis Douglas.
It is Phyllis Douglas. Yeah.
It just says girl number 2.
Yeah, I think that's Mears. Yeah, from Galileo 7, I believe.
Which is funny because they have Galileo 2.
Yeah.
Shuttlecraft.
Yeah, and I read one of the things was like, why is it Galileo 2? And
you're right, it was Yeoman Mears.
Yeah.
Because the Galileo was...
Isn't that the one that...
badly damaged or destroyed?
Galileo 7, do they leave it there?
I can't remember.
And then I thought...
They must have.
If not that one, then I thought that's the one that Decker drives into the Doomsday Machine.
The Galileo burned up in the Galileo 7.
Okay.
Columbus?
Oh, that's right.
But, yes, it would be... I like that it was because the Galileo was destroyed in Doomsday, or in Galileo 7.
Yeah.
It says... So here's somebody that says the Galileo was destroyed in Galileo 7, but returned in Doomsday Machine, presumably. Metamorphosis, Journey to Babel, and Immunity Syndrome, where it was destroyed again. Regardless, the reason was because for budget, they could just easily paint a 2 instead of renaming it. Right. I'm not kidding. I
have no doubt.
So,
and I always love seeing the shuttlecraft. I love the shuttlecraft.
It's a cool shuttle. And I liked that their Eden was poison.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't overdo it and make it like a whole thing. It was just like, oh yeah, we get down there, it looks pretty, but it's not.
And I remembered, in my memory, they all died, but it made more sense that that's the way it went.
And Adam. Poor Adam. Charles Napier.
Yeah. Charles Napier, he's great. I forgot it was him.
Silence of the Lambs, Rambo First Blood, Austin Powers, Blues Brothers.
So many things. And
200 credits.
He, rest in peace, Chuck Napier. He wrote the songs, and he wrote and sang the songs in this.
Oh, he died in 2011.
Yeah.
He did an episode of Archer right before he died. That was his last credit.
Yeah. A great voice. Great live action animated.
I loved him in this.
I did too. And, in my memory, it was like, oh, God, I hate that guy. And this, I was like, no, I dig this guy. I love him.
I thought he had a cool relationship with Spock.
Yeah.
And I get it. Spock is not a hippie, but Spock is a beatnik.
Yeah,
and I wrote down. Hippies get along.
I wrote down Spock gets it.
He does. I mean, he's along those lines.
And that line at the very end where Kirk says, I think he says, "Do we reach?" What he's saying, Spock, are we cool? And are we understanding? I really like that because it didn't have any of the Kirk machismo. It was very much like, hey.
Yeah, Shatner did pretty good in this.
He did.
What did you think of the slang?
It was okay, the Herbert and all that.
There was a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I thought it was consistent. I thought it was interesting to hear some slang because it makes sense that the Enterprise crew isn't using a lot of slang.
Right.
But these guys, totally.
Right.
Totally.
Right. And we've talked a lot about having more modern, whatever, or century appropriate dialogue, and so that I did like that.
You said the Herbert might have referred to Herbert Hoover?
Yeah. That's one of the theories. The other is and I think this one I've read other places too. It was a dig at the former production executive Herbert F. Solo, who I think was...
yeah.
And so the line is that, and he's like, what's a Herbert? Somebody who's...
very rigid in their thought
and incapable of deviating.
Oh, poor Herbert Solo.
Supposedly it was at the behest of the current executive, Douglas S. Kramer. So I like that story. And I prefer to believe that. But Herbert Hoover, that's fine too. And the music, I think we talked a little early on. It didn't bother me as much this time either. Like, I actually liked it. The lyrics aren't great, but it's definitely in keeping with those characters. And
then they invite Spock to have a jam session. They got the wagon wheel that's also an instrument.
Yeah.
That was neat looking.
Yeah. So that didn't bother me nearly as much this time as when I was younger.
No, I did. The lip syncing was pretty bad.
Right. Of its age.
I didn't think that was Napier singing at first.
And I think the woman singing with him, girl number 1, I think is how she's listed. Downey. Yeah.
Deborah Downey.
Yeah, I believe that's her. And then there were versions of that song recorded. They did some versions of it later. I think they did, and then some other folks did.
This is what she's best known for.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we also had Mary Linda Rapay.
She was
who played Chekhov's love interest.
Irina.
Rapele, I can't say what her name is. She's best known for this as well, although she did do an episode of Star Trek The New Voyages as Ambassador Rayna Morgan, which is not considered canon, so whatever. But
I think it was like a fan film.
Yeah, it's a fan series, but it's one of the more well-known ones. And then Victor Brandt played... who did Victor play?
The diplomat's son,
Tonga Rad, So he was also in it. Let's see. He's Metalocalypse, that Adult Swim show.
Oh, really?
He's did 59 episodes of that.
Oh, wow.
Played several different voices. General Crozier is one of them. He did some voices in Avatar The Last Airbender. So he's done a lot of voice acting. He played Superman, the animated series. He did some voice acting. Spawn. Did a voice in Zorro from the 90s. I don't know. So yeah, it looks like he's got a lot of voice credits.
I did not know that.
He was also in 8 episodes of Gomer Pyle at about this time. He was in a lot of Troyes as Watson.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, he's got quite a few credits. About 100. He's still alive, apparently. A couple 2017 credits, so still active.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting to see who's still around.
Yeah.
Who's not. There were some lines that bothered me. I did not like when Kirk said, one of those was in the Academy.
Yeah, and there's also reference to these people. I think it was Kirk
I don't
also.
like that. I do think... Oh, Herbert. I had a note about Herbert. It sounded, for a minute, I thought they were saying pervert.
Oh.
And so I don't know if that was meant to mean anything.
Well, I thought somebody said at one point Herbert, which is something different altogether.
Also, these hippies have a different form of neck pinch that seems to be pleasant.
Yes. Yes. And I wonder if that was the direction, was like, okay, when you react to this, it's kind of like the...
you get a mini orgasm. Spock's like, the Vulcans are mean. They don't give you that.
Broken Lizard's Club Dread movie, where I think it was called the Sleeping Panda, where it was a move they did, and they all had the same reaction whenever that move was done in the movie.
I liked all of the reaction shots of the crew when the hippies were singing.
Oh, the guy next to Scotty.
Yeah. Just, and chat, different people elsewhere. Their music reminded me a little bit of Jesus Christ Superstar, but I guess that's a product of the time.
Yeah.
This was around the same time.
Yeah.
I liked they brought up Typhoid Mary, and they're like, hey, you remember her?
Oh,
from your history class?
Yeah, that's another one.
I'm like, no, because they don't teach that history anymore. But in the 23rd century, apparently they still do.
I never really understood what his disease did. And I guess they didn't need to tell us other than if people... It's not like if people got it...
It'd be deadly.
It could be deadly, yeah.
But McCoy makes a comment about, some crew members may not be up on immunizations. I better check the records. And I'm like, really? You let somebody on the Enterprise
go into all these strange planets?
When the hippies came on board, they immediately went to examine them and make sure they were up on stuff. Yeah, I thought that was a bit odd that some of the crew might not be up on their shots. I don't think that Starfleet would allow that.
No. Maybe they lapsed. Maybe this is year 4 of the 5.
This is year 3 of the 5-year
Oh,
yeah. I think it's really weird that the accents in the 23rd century are still so strong. With Chekhov and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because I feel like accents are already starting to disappear a bit in this day and age. Mm-hmm. I guess in the 60s, you probably wouldn't have seen them disappearing so much yet.
Right.
Whereas now it's very obvious that regionally they're going away.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the 23rd century, there'd be very little accent.
Yeah. I appreciate her accent.
I thought her and Chekhov were a cute pair.
I did too.
I liked them.
Speaking of the music, why is music being pumped throughout the show?
Well, it was a jam session with Spock. Who's not going to want to hear that? I mean, come on, Steven. I mean, it's really a shame your hero wasn't in this episode because she would have been right there with him singing and stuff. Actually, her absence is glaring. Like, there's music going on. She didn't go to the jam session.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Makes total sense.
Sulu's hobby is botany.
Yeah, hobby. Sulu has many hobbies.
Many hobbies.
You can't start botany.
We know he likes botany because way back in the beginning of season 1 we saw it.
That's right.
But I feel that, and that's probably where they picked it up for this reference.
Right.
But I feel like, okay, he went to find Sulu, and that day it was botany, so he just assumes...
that makes sense.
He just assumes...
He didn't catch him on Historical Firearms Day or any of that stuff.
Or,
fencing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the other many hobbies Sulu has. But it shows that Sulu doesn't just take a hobby, drop it, and move on to the next one. He's balancing all of them.
That's right. Yeah.
So I appreciate that with the character development. That, and Sulu definitely seemed straight in this episode.
Yep.
As he was looking at Lieutenant Mears, the hippie.
Yep.
It made me think, is that Demora's mother? His daughter?
Oh, it could be.
Probably not. But
I will say that I do enjoy Phyllis Douglas, so I could see her making him.
And, I'm trying to remember if they give us much information in Generations about his daughter, like what her upbringing was. But I can totally see, she's got a hippie mother who wants to go fight Eden, so she just leaves the starship.
Sense. That makes sense.
And we didn't see Sulu Razor because those were the seasons that never aired.
That makes sense.
So I'm going to choose to believe that that's Demora's mother, and now Demora's growing up on the Enterprise.
That makes sense.
Not really, but I'm going to go with it.
I'll buy it.
But Sulu's gay.
Right.
So in the new version, he's adopted a daughter.
Right.
But I think we should probably, for the purposes of canon, consider that all Sulus are gay. Because it makes sense for the actor and they've already explained how he could have a daughter while still being gay. So maybe Demora was, I don't know, something else entirely. Which is why I say it doesn't make sense. Did you like Chapel's new haircut?
I did, yeah. Yeah. It was... Her skirt seemed like it was hiked back up again. She was back to minimum length.
Yeah, I wasn't digging it, but I guess that kind of brings us to fashion, if you want to.
Yeah, shippy fashion. A lot of fashion in this episode.
A lot of fashion.
I think I like most of it for...
And the one guy outfit definitely seemed like it should have been a female.
Yeah.
Just lots of opening and also thigh-high boots.
Yeah. That was Adam, right?
Yeah.
Adam, and he died by eating a pear.
Yeah.
In Eden.
Not quite an apple, but close enough.
That one was a little on the nose, but
it was very on the nose.
I
wish he had that. He was my favorite of the group.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the ears, Severn's ears. I know they weren't fashion; they were his ears. But I liked Irina's outfit for as far as the navel bearing.
I always like a navel bearing outfit.
Yeah.
I like to see a little belly.
Well, and then I didn't notice it throughout the episode until the very end when she turned around that it was backless as well.
Oh, yeah. No, I noticed that.
Yeah.
There was almost some side boob there.
Yeah. Kudos there.
It was taped. Bill Thies definitely taped it on.
Yeah. So I like theirs. I like the other ladies. Yeah,
I think hers was my favorite of the ladies.
Yeah, mine too.
But I would have liked to have seen Adam's outfit on a lady. Yeah, the green velvet thigh-high boots that Adam was wearing. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I would like to see those on Irina.
Yeah, Chuck Napier, he rocked him, man.
He did. It didn't look bad on him.
No.
I'm not knocking him.
No.
It definitely felt more like a female costume on the show than a male.
Now, the wigs that he and
I'll definitely wigs again.
Tonga Rock had to wear, yeah.
Yeah, not great wigs.
It was like they took a Bozo the Clown wig and just kind of refashioned and recolored the hair.
Skip home here was like, I opt out of the wig, just ball.
Yep. It didn't look like he had a skull cap on.
I don't know if it was a skull cap or if he was shaved.
Maybe he was just like, screw it, I'll shave it, yeah.
I don't know.
I did read, some people think that Severn was based on Timothy Leary, which makes sense on some level.
Based on what?
Timothy Leary, Dr. Timothy Leary, the professor who was the one who, to drop out, drop acid, and was all into LSD and EST and all that stuff. Although I'm sure some people thought he was insane, but I don't think he was clinically insane as they decided that Severn was in this episode. But I like that Spock hangs and talks to him, and then he's like, I have some news. He's insane.
Yeah. No, the stuff with him, I almost felt like it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to add some real conflict in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. I liked it. I didn't hate
it. It did help explain, or his character at least explain how they were able to, because I had the same thought too. I was like, how are these quote-unquote hippies taking over the starship? It's like, oh, nope, they've got a guy who knows. And then Irina had some experience and all that. So
I mean, that guy definitely had a plan that they were just going with.
Yeah.
But they thought they needed it to get to Eden.
Yeah.
They'd been misled.
Well, for once, it wasn't a crazy ex-starship captain.
Right.
It was just crazy.
Oh, I got bad news for you.
What?
He's an ex-starship.
At one point, it just struck me that this is essentially, as presented, almost an End the Children Shall Lead rewrite, except these guys didn't kill their parents, but they are being led by this force, and they
aren't mature.
They're immature, and they're kind of exactly. So it's in some ways it is similar. It's a better episode.
I felt. So, do you think this was a pro-hippie or anti-hippie episode?
When I watched it, then I thought it was anti. Mm-hmm. Now watching it now, I think it's the opposite. I think it's.
I'm not. I think it might lean. Well, I don't think it's either. I really don't.
I think it's because I think the message that comes through from Spock and everyone is acceptance and.
But these hippies weren't all on the up and up either. They were easily misled by
right. Well, and I think that's the thing is like
maybe they were saying they're mostly genuine, but they. There's some bad seeds in there you shouldn't judge them all by.
Seek out your path, seek what you're going for, but be careful because there's going to be people that are going to take advantage
But Spock at the end saying you need to keep looking for Eden or make it.
Yes.
I like the or make it.
Yeah. I really like that line.
I dug it.
So Spock's been killing the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Well, let's be fair. Even in the worst episodes, Spock kills. I dare you to find one episode of the 79 where Nimoy sucks.
Nimoy's always great.
I mean, I can name a couple ones where Shatner sucked.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I can even name some where DeForest Kelley sucked. But I dare you to find a single episode where Nimoy wasn't good.
Yeah, I think even the worst, he makes the stuff work.
Even when there are things weird with the character, he does his best.
Yeah. There was one, I actually saw this, I actually noticed in the episode, there's a shot that's taken from another episode of Kirk reacting, and they flipped it, so his insignia was on the other side. Yeah.
I missed that.
So I just, if I hadn't read about it earlier, I probably wouldn't have missed it.
Do you remember what scene?
It's when he comes back out of the brig, I think, when Severn's in there, and they're all sitting around there.
I did think it was a little ridiculous that the security guard was like sending music as eyes were closed.
Yeah.
That Adam could sneak up on him.
I just thought again, just the worst security force.
They're not Adam, the other guy.
Ever.
Yeah. The red shirts, man, they're just not paying attention.
How do these guys get on that detail?
Well, they have high turnovers, so they have to keep having to replace them.
You're right. Beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
I thought when they played the high-pitched sound, my thought was it sounds only old people can hear. Was that the idea?
I don't think that's quite the idea. I mean, obviously it affected Spock more than the others. But of course, Kirk was the one who could fight his way through it.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Willpower. Mind over matter.
Everybody.
Yeah. Maybe I'm thinking that because I just watched a Brooklyn 99 episode where they had a sound effect that only affects people that are over the age of 35.
Yes.
And it's like, that won't affect me. It's not affecting me, but
yeah.
I also enjoyed, speaking of sounds, we got to get another Chekhov scream when he touches the plant on the planet. I love a water gaining scream.
I thought that was interesting. They're like, oh, the acid, our clothes will protect us. I'm like, won't your clothes be dissolving off
eventually,
your body?
yeah.
But it did make, like, the hippies were all barefoot, so of course they're walking through acid grass.
Right.
They're burning immediately.
Yeah. And when Severn jumped in the tree, I guess by then he was already burned anyway, but I thought,
Well, the tree was probably burning him too.
Plus he was insane, so.
I think the tree was probably burning him too, and then I think eating the pear was almost like suicide.
Right, yeah.
Alternate episode?
The Beatles appear on the Enterprise.
No, it would have been the monkeys.
Well, you're right. You're right.
And then Chekhov would have jammed with them.
And again, that's one of the...
and they were Chekhov's long-lost brothers.
No, that would make sense. That was one of the complaints a lot of people had about the episode, is they felt it was we're cashing in on what's going on now. And that's why I jokingly say the Beatles show up or whatever. The monkeys actually would be better, but...
I think this would have been the perfect opportunity to show the saucer separation, and the hippies run away with the bottom of the ship, and they have to pursue them in the saucer. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no budget left.
Right. That's why we never. That's probably another
awesome.
reason the Romulans never showed up. It's like, well, then we'd have to show them.
Yeah. Well, they could have just been cloaked the whole time.
No, that's true.
They were actually probably there. So here's my alternate episode. The Romulans this whole time were there, and they managed to get some access to the Enterprise cameras, and they're just watching this all unfold and go, should we uncloak and fire on them? Nah.
Well, no.
Just let them do it to themselves.
They're watching and they've got the music piped in. They're so into the music. They're like, yeah, you know what? This is cool. Let's just jam. This is good. Yeah. That's all I got. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, rankings. Do any of these women knock out Losira for you?
I didn't think it was going to happen, but Irina
Really?
did. Yeah.
Irina,
She had... And this is not obviously a comment on Irina. She had a little thing where the very end of her nose would crinkle and bend. It was very cute. Not to mention her other obvious assets and the Russian accent.
Absolutely.
Lovely, lovely woman who I think is still...
No death
I know. She is... I think
her last credit was The Proposal, that movie with
really?
Ryan Reynolds and
I think she's the one who is now running a bed and breakfast in Boothbay Harbor, Maine, which I was just there, or I was near there this last week.
Oh.
Yeah, and then she teaches acting classes. If I had known, I would have. I'm
tempted to go with Irina. I'm tempted to go with girl number 2, who was Mears, but I think I think I'm going to stick with Losira.
All right.
Not that I wasn't tempted.
Sure.
I was tempted in Adam in those thigh boots. No, I'm kidding. I'm telling you, I would have really liked to see those boots on Losira. If she was wearing those, maybe I would have been finally persuaded over. Yeah, and then ranking the episode. Where shall we start? Middle?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. The Empath.
I'd go below that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
A lot of Troyus. I feel like they're similar episodes.
I put them, they're more like, they're just entertaining fluff, for lack of a better term, but they're not fluff. But
this one had singing, and that one had the shrew that had to be tamed.
That's right.
Not making sexist comment.
What's below Alana Troyes?
So that's where we need Keith to help, because it'll either be Tholian Webb or let that be your last battlefield. And I would say this ranks above those.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised that I'm this high with this. Obviously we're doing it by committee, so that can get mixed up. But
there's only 2 of us.
Well, at this point, it's just us.
I don't blame them. This is the time to abandon us. Hopefully they'll come back.
Yeah.
Hopefully Keith finishes his audiobook. Check out Keith's audiobooks under J. Keith Jackson. Right. And then he and Mary Ann can rejoin us.
That's right. I think I'd go below Alana Troyes.
I'll give you that.
But
I put it above Tholian and let that be.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Wow, yeah, I would not have guessed.
We're
surprised. Number 9 of 20.
Maybe we've been beaten down by all this mediocrity and happiness, but
I think part of that could be that we've gone through 2 really bad episodes in a row. But honestly, I do think I think it deserves to be in the top half of the season.
Yeah,
it's barely in the top half.
Right. Yeah, which that sounds.
And season 3.
That's much higher than I would have expected.
If we were putting it in season 2, it would not be the top half.
Yeah.
Or even season 1.
Coming into these last 2, I would have never thought this would be higher than Requiem for Methuselah.
Oh, God, it's way better.
For me, Methuselah's moments outshine these, but as I've said,
Season 3 has a better concept, but the episode is so poorly executed.
It does, but it's got those fatal flaws as we discussed last week.
Tons of them.
Yeah. Oh, just
if Methuselah had been made well, it would be at the top of the season.
Yeah.
It just sucked.
Yeah.
Next week, the Cloud Minders, Kirk and Spock, are caught up in a revolution on a planet where intellectuals and artists live in a utopia city in the sky, while the rest of the population toils and mines on the barren surface below.
Okay, well,
I'm sure that's not allegorical at all.
And this is another ripoff that Star Wars did when they had Cloud City on Bespin.
Yep, Star Wars is always ripping it off.
Yeah. I vaguely remember this episode a little more, but still very vaguely.
I don't think we've seen this one either.
I think Jeff Corey's in it. That's
sounds like, just a quick glance at a larger synopsis. Sounds like the Time Machine, H.G. Wells, with the below surface people and the surface people, the Utopia versus the Miner.
Yep.
So I'm gonna guess that's H.G. Wells.
I've got slightly higher hopes for this episode than I had. Now that I'm kind of remembering.
I don't necessarily have high hopes because the title sucks.
I have higher hopes. I don't have high hopes, I should say.
Okay. As long as it's not as bad as the 2 we just got through. If it's a way to eating good, we're great. I'd be very happy with that. I mean, way to eating good. If the rest of the season's way of eating good, I'll be happy. I don't think it will be, but
no Lights of Zetar. I know Savage Curtain's coming up, and I know I don't like that one, but
we'll
see. Maybe I didn't think I liked White Way to Eating. It was
only 4 episodes left. We are closing out. We're closing out 3. I wish I could say that we're gonna be mixed feelings to leave the original series behind, but at this point, I've been so beaten down by season 3 that I'm looking forward to it ending very much.
Yeah.
And I did not think I would say that.
I'm already super nostalgic about seasons 1 and 2. Like,
I know.
Those great episodes are rising in my mind even more now.
Early season 3.
Yeah.
Is there in truth no beauty or the Enterprise incident? For the world is hollow and I've touched the sky.
Yep.
Come on. Cloud Minders, then 3 more, and then the animated series.
Yeah.
With our normal 6-week break.
Sure.
There'll probably be a bonus episode or 2 tossed in.
Yeah.
We'll see what we got for you. We ran out of records, but we'll find something else to talk about.
In the meantime, go seek your Eden.
And once you do,
live long and prosper.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?